For Victims and Villains, my name is Josh, and today we are going on an adventure. This is Backrooms. Backrooms is the YouTube to big screen adaptation of the short film series that Kane Parsons made famous a few years ago that tells the story of a struggling furniture salesman that discovers a secret room that leads to a parallel dimension in the basement of his furniture store. Originally, I was not going to do a video about it, and then I saw this movie and have so much to say. But considering this is going to be a spoiler-free review, I'm going to try and keep it very small and contained because I feel like this is a movie that demands multiple viewings and almost kind of a study of this world, if you will. Make no mistake, Kane Parsons is going to be one of the next great voices in horror and sci-fi horror, or either of those genres. This movie is nothing short of exceptional. I'm honestly going to be surprised if this movie doesn't land in my top 10 movies of the year, if not my top 5 films of the year. Like, this movie just made me feel all the emotions of both feeling uncomfortable, squirming in my seat, which does not happen very often when I watch genre films, but also at the same time, this movie also moved me in unexpected ways and got a chuckle or two out of me as well. Chiwetel Ejiofor is, oh my god, this man is so freaking good in this movie. Now, I'll be the first to admit that I'm not super familiar with his filmography. To me, he's the guy from Doctor Strange, which I know is probably low-hanging fruit in the greatness of his filmography. But nonetheless, this dude just kind of blew me away here. Like, this is probably not his career best performance, but from the few performances that I've seen, this man knocks it out of the park. And to me, it is a career best performance from what I have seen him in. Renate Reinsve plays the doctor, therapist, if you will, to Clark Ejiofor's character in this movie, and she does a phenomenal job here. Again, an actress and performance that I'm not really super familiar with their work, but I thought they did an exceptional job here. Now, with Renate's character, Mary, there is a little bit of issues that I do have with the way that her character was developed. With her character in particular is the way that her character just kind of felt underdeveloped to me. Like, yes, she does have a backstory, but you kind of don't see her react or kind of talk about it. You kind of just have to kind of take guesses with how this singular event really shaped her. And it also kind of feels like an odd choice to kind of really kind of give her character the backstory and not the protagonist, Clark. Was kind of one of the issues that I had. The Mark Duplass character is my other big complaint of this, is that his character and the organization surrounding his character really have maybe 3 scenes in this, and they kind of largely feel like an afterthought, even though they really primarily lead this film. It's a really weird choice. I kind of just felt like there was some of his character just really didn't feel thought out, or kind of felt like a complete thought, but rather just an idea, or to quote Rocket Raccoon, 12% of an idea. And yes, I understand that's barely even a concept. But Duplass as a performance in this is right alongside Ejiofor and Renate. Just an incredible performance. He does a fantastic job here. I just kind of felt like his character was really underdeveloped. And look, I get it. This is with Kane Parsons. He is a first-time director. he is the youngest director to ever take on an A24 film in the history of the studio. He was making, YouTube videos on this subject matter less than 5 years ago, and here he is directing a $10 million budget. I get everything that is in here, but these kind of notes and these kind of finer character moments on a larger scale feature film are things that kind of make this film kind of lack, and it really does come down to the writing, which comes down to the actual writing of the script from Will Soodik than it does the actual direction of Parsons. This movie gives me very, very strong David Lynch vibes, and I don't know if I'm saying that because I'm going through Twin Peaks for the upteenth time again in my personal viewing, but there's so much of this movie and so much of the lore surrounding this movie and the themes that reminded me of things like Eraserhead, Twin Peaks as obvious, Lost Highway, Mulholland Drive. There are so many things that just scream Lynch, and that's probably one of the highest compliments that, as a fan of Lynch and a super fan of Lynch at that I can honestly say and kind of give Parsons, is that he is going to be one of the upcoming voices alongside Curry Barker, talking about seeing the making of the next generation of horror. This movie is paced splendidly well. This movie blew by. I was so engrossed in this movie, and this movie drew me to the edge of my seat and just kind of left me there. But also, like I said again, it just made me feel all of these emotions, especially with the Clark character. I thought it was a very dynamic character, and kind of ultimately where he leads himself throughout the course of this film is very relatable, especially from a mental health perspective, and especially anyone that's ever gone through heartbreak, sobriety, addiction, divorce, all of that stuff. His character is very, very relatable. I think some of my biggest complaints, again, about this movie, it's a very small complaint, not necessarily about the quality, but the fact that I wanted more of this world. I think I find myself saying that about short films kind of progressing into the promise of a feature film, but it's really rare that I find myself actually wanting more from a movie, and Backrooms, I think, it definitely gives a lot more. Luckily, there's so much lore and short films on this platform already that I'm so excited to dive into, because I've only seen the original OG short film, so I'm very excited to kind of dive into this world a little bit more, but I wanted so badly to stay in it just a little longer. With that said, I'm ready to run this one through the Rorschach rating scale. I'm going to go ahead and give Backrooms a 4.5 out of 5. Overall, this is one hell of a debut from Kane Parsons. I thought this movie was incredibly well shot. It's experimental. It's Lynchian, which I fucking loved. But also at the same time, I did have some issues with some of the character development in this movie. I definitely think it's its biggest flaw. There are some characters that feel very underdeveloped, and certain characters or certain aspects of this world that I would like to see a little bit more, less ambitious, but also a little bit more developed. And I kind of think that's the trade-off, right, that you have here, is that this movie is ambiguous in a large portion of what that word means. And it's both a blessing and a curse. But overall, I think this film does exactly everything it set out to do, and this movie demands rewatches and conversations, and it's one of those very rare films that needs to be studied, and this film proves that Parsons is one of the emerging voices in the genre of horror. Backrooms is now playing everywhere from A24. Click the links in the show notes below to check out where it is playing in your city. I'm going to be planning another screening of this movie, whether it is released theatrical or it is going to be released on VOD, but there will be a mental health companion piece coming to this video soon. I think this film does a great job at addressing some mental health, but if you or someone you know is currently struggling right now with suicide, addiction, self-harm, or depression, please click the links in the show notes below to check out our mental health resource library. Additionally, in the show notes below, you guys will find links to our podcast network, more movie reviews like this, all of our social media, how to support us financially, and that subscribe button. And until next time, remember to keep it classy and keep it spooky.